Hi, this is the Maverick artist Victor Hugo reporting modern art gonzo journalism for the modern art music movement. It is June 16th, 2024, reporting from the former Soviet Union, Republic of Georgia, near the border with Russia, Turkey, Armenia, and Azerbaijan. My job is not to be politically correct. It is to witness, observe, analyze, and document the beautiful chaos that surrounds us all, so that future generations can understand how we got to this moment in time where we are talking from all corners of the earth and the United States with Flat Earth Dave and Dustin Nemos as guests today. How are you guys doing?
Doing well.
Doing well, thanks. Good to
So,
chat again.
before we get into discussions on Flat Earth, let's talk about what's happening in the United States of America. Dustin, you are near the Russian submarines and near the Russian fleet that is in Cuba, which is less than, I think, 50 miles away from Key West, Florida. And Dave, you are in Connecticut, which is also on the coastline, where if there's a Poseidon missile, it could actually take out the entire coastline with a tsunami.
Well, hopefully Long Island will protect us people in Connecticut from that, and all the people in Long Island will get wiped out, and then we'll have ocean front at that point.
How close are you to Plum Island, by the way, Dave?
I don't know, a couple hundred miles. It's a couple hour car drive down the coast.
I used to live walking distance from Plum Island. Literally, like, I would walk from where I was staying to Plum Island every day. And boy, is that a creepy place. Well, actually, there's an entranceway to Plum Island. You have to actually catch a ferry to Plum Island. But there was that secret area which was monitored by the military and everything. And there were cameras all over the place. And every time I walked by there, I tried taking pictures and all. But yeah, it's a pretty suspect place, that Plum Island. And you could see Connecticut from where I was. That was in the Hamptons, at the edge of Long Island.
Yep.
It's a beautiful area, very remote, very quiet, very spooky. So, Dustin, what's going on over there in Florida? The weather, they've been using weather storms and weather warfare to keep the satellites from seeing what's going on over there. Are you aware of that?
Actually, Florida has been fairly blessed in terms of weather. I mean, we get our fair share, but as opposed to some of the other parts of the country that are getting these superstorms where the government's like seeding the storm intentionally to make it worse and then using their HAARP stuff to sort of electrify the atmosphere. And I'm not the best to explain how that works, but they're basically making superstorms as a weapon against people. And now we're seeing just massive devastation with some of these storms in the inner part of our country. So that is happening. I've been sort of blessed here, living in the Florida woods, kind of off the coastline. But there's problems going on. This Russian fleet or ship or whatever's happening off Cuba is probably not there to deal with all of the Haitian cannibals crossing the ocean to get to the Keys in Florida, I imagine.
It's probably giving them supplies so they can make the rest of the trip.
Yeah, giving them a lift over. Everybody else is.
I have a 5 cents I want to throw in on this topic.
Okay. Yeah, no, go for it. Let's hear your 5 cents.
So we have the Russian ship. First, the theater of war. They call it a theater because it's a theater. It's all a big game. Right. So now they have it there. What's the number one thing everyone's talking about on the news? Oh my God, they're in striking distance. Nuclear war, nuclear war, nuclear war. You guys are aware that nuclear bombs don't exist, I assume. Are you guys on the same page there?
Yeah, I just say big bombs usually.
Big bombs, yeah.
I was going to play a clip from that, so that's great that you're talking about this.
On my website, flatearthdave.com, scroll down, and there's a big banner with nuclear bombs on it. If you are unaware and you're triggered, hey, try taking someone's ball away, they get triggered, right? Tell them the earth is flat. Try taking their biggest fear away, which is nuclear bombs, and they get even more triggered. So those are like the two top triggering topics. Go down there, click that link. There's a whole bunch of episodes from Crow 777 Radio right there that you can listen to, and then you'll know, right? And so when you take this fear thing out, all of this is about fear. All of this is about controlling our minds. All of this is about having us live in fear. They love it. They, the elite, the people that are trying to rule this world, love it when truthers are out there pushing fear. No matter what it is, real or fake, they don't care. As long as it's fear, then you're in business and you're helping them out. So, I don't say just ignore everything. Have no fear. Fear is false evidence appearing real. That's what this whole thing and out there is. And you're talking about there is some artificial clouds, blocking aerial photographs of what's really going on there, right? They are maneuvering, manufacturing all of the weather. And, I don't think there's any real weather anymore. I don't think there's any. And Dustin, I'll finish this up, but I have a question for you because you're the biblical guy. Is there any mention in the Bible of storms other than Noah's rainstorm?
You know, massive regional floods happened in some of the apocryphal books before the flood, even as sort of like a warning before the big event.
But like hurricanes and tornadoes and stuff like that.
Yeah, there are, like, at least in some of the dream visions and such, but I don't know about specific ones. Usually there's like massive devastation events by like fire, like Sodom and Gomorrah and stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, that kind of stuff for
different.
sure.
That's
I don't know
different.
about specific verse about megastorms.
I personally think that the earth is intelligently designed. God created this amazing place. Water doesn't randomly fall where it's needed. Water is needed in places at specific times, and it is intelligently delivered, right? So we have all of these rivers of atmosphere flying, or, you know, going around the earth, doing what they're supposed to do and doing what God intended to, delivering life-giving water when necessary. By them going up there and spraying the skies and doing all sorts of stuff and HARP and heating and cooling and all sorts of stuff, they're basically building dams that literally build up with pressure, and then the dam breaks, and that's where the storm comes from. And so I think that all of these major storms are manufactured, all of them.
Yeah.
Of the understanding that weather modification and weather warfare was around way before humans think it is, just like a lot of the technology that's hidden. And they've been using this to hide history and to control humanity for hundreds of years.
I'm a farmer also. I mean, I grow a lot of stuff, at least. I'm a big gardener. And farmers have been using little old biplanes since the time of, like, just after the invention of planes on up to now, to crop dust and also to seed clouds. So this is old technology. It's just basic minerals that you throw up in the air with a plane, and you get certain effects. You can make storms happen, you can make them not happen, and you can make them stronger. You can seed water. I mean, certain Arabic countries have already proven effectively that you can seed water even in the desert.
For those who are joining us, realize that you will notice something different about the way that Dustin and Flat Earth Dave and I speak today. And that is because we are trying to outwit the censors. So please forgive us if we don't use the proper terminology to describe certain people or certain weapons or weapons of mass destruction or certain things that will get us flagged by the artificial intelligence that monitors these podcasts. Because what we're trying to do is we're trying to reach those who are not as well informed as you, the normal viewer of our channels, are. And so bear with us and realize we're not selling out. What we're doing is we're trying to reach the normies, because we have to reach a critical point. Enough people understand that they are trying to kill us. And then once we become united, then we can conquer the they. All right. So, you know, I wanted to let also people know that since having Dustin Nemos and Flat Earth Dave on my show, I've had accusations now that not only am I a Jew, but I'm also a CIA, Illuminati, and a Mossad. So apparently, having you guys on the show is like toxic, man. I've never had such hate sent to me in the comments.
Amazing.
I do get a little hate for my positions, unfortunately.
What is it about this flat Earth topic that gets people more incited than the Jeffrey Epstein flight log list and pedophile island?
I have an opinion, but David, you want to take it first?
You go first. Go ahead.
Okay, so I think that it is fundamentally philosophical in nature. It's the realization, at least on a basic level, even if they won't admit it consciously, that there is a God and that they are going to be judged. When they realize that there is a God, they start to self-evaluate their own past. They start to realize just how bad they've been, that they were watched the whole time, and probably understand that the Creator will not be happy with them, whatever faith that they're in. People start to rethink everything. I was a lifelong, hardcore, devout atheist who didn't hate religions, but I thought that they were the source of a lot of problems in the world. And when I found biblical flat earth, I realized God was real. I started to test the scriptures out there, different types of Bibles, different religions, and only one God had prophecies and foreknowledge and advanced science and all these other things embedded in scripture that was super accurate historically. So I became a Christian. I admitted I was wrong about God, and I'm sorry about the duck noises outside. But I think that's what it is. I think it goes back fundamentally to something even bigger than fear of nukes. I think it's fear of God.
Absolutely. You're 100% right there. And there's many reasons, but you know, the saying, you can, it's easy to fool somebody, but it's harder to convince them they've been fooled. And they get you before you can talk, right? Before you, when you're a little kid, nursery rhymes, television shows, Sesame Street has astronauts on it. Your parents put Mobile over your head, and we're just big kids. Try taking a ball away from a big kid that's literally built his entire life around it. Not only were you taught this as a fact, and it's the foundation of all of your worldview, the it I had a good point there and I just lost it. It not only is it the foundation of your worldview, it's hard for people to rip that out and admit they've been lied to. It's hard for them to admit they've been lied to on such a large scale. So people just don't want to reevaluate their life. It takes a little kid that's out there experiencing the world, figuring depth perception, understanding, looking at a pond and we're not spinning. And then he goes to school and the teacher, who's a god to the kid, says, oh, we're spinning, we're whirling, we're trolling, we're flying through space, and all of this stuff. You're breaking that kid's trust in his own senses. That's the first thing in mind control. Just totally break them so they cannot trust their own senses. And then you grow up with that broken trust and belief in authority. It's a nightmare. But I think the biggest thing is they're hiding God.
Now, Dave, the big kids that don't want you to take away the ball, they say, I shouldn't trust you because you're of the synagogue of Satan and you're of the father of all lies. And basically what you're doing is you're perpetrating a psyop on goyim like me, and that somehow Dustin Nemos is also part of this flat earth psyop.
Is that because of my ethnic bring up, or just what I'm preaching?
I think it's because you and I are Jews. Apparently, I wore a yarmulke on the Stu Peters show as a prop, and now they say that because I've got a yarmulke, that makes me a Jew. Is that true?
I'm not a Jew, and I say it too. It's a flat biblical earth.
I'm told that I am a Jew, but I know less about it than all the people that hate me for it.
In fact, I'll point this out. I go further even than David and others. I take a position on biblical earth where I say it's not just flat. And David talks about like geocentricity and such. I mean, he covers a lot of the same stuff, but I take the biblical position and I take God's word literally on this. It's flat, it's young, it's geocentric, it's stationary. There's a dome on top called the firmament. All of that's real. Well, that's 6,000 years old too.
That's why people say, Dustin, that I shouldn't trust you because you take the biblical approach, and the Bible was written by the JEWS.
That's not
true. To control and manipulate the goy.
Well, that's not true. In fact, they 1,400 years plus after the time of Jesus, the word Jew was made up and injected into Bibles, and that was a new word. It wasn't even around. The letter J was not even around during the time of Yeshua Christ, or Jesus Christ, as we call him today. So that can't be true. And frankly, nobody goes after Jews harder than I do. No offense, David. I talk about how they are in control of everything and they are behind a lot of the stuff that's happening and what's going on in Israel and such. But at the end of the day, the truth is the truth. I mean, I'm just trying to stand on it, and it's a biblical earth. It stands up. It's all absolutely true. It tests true. The Bible tests true. Test all things.
I tell people, don't believe anything I say. Right? Go verify everything.
They don't, Dave, because they think you're a JEW lion.
Yeah, that's whatever. I say, you know what? You want to really hurt me? Take my money. I offer three Bitcoins for one globe proof. Right? All right, 3 Bitcoins for one globe proof. You want to hurt me? Take my money. That's the number one thing. 3 Bitcoins, one globe proof. Nobody has even no one has. I mean, people have tried, but the stuff they come up with just shows how unresearched they are.
By the way, I have a way today for both of you to make some money because I have somebody offering both of you guys money if you're able to disprove the things that person has told me. But first, let's get into, I'm going to share the screen, and let's get into another PSYOP Mossad agent that some people know as AJ. We can't say his name, and I'll show you why, because on Flat Earth Dave's YouTube.
Did you share with sound? Did you click share with sound?
Oh, you are sharing screen.
You have to go back, unshare, and then go on the right hand side. It should say share with sound.
Okay, I'll stop sharing.
They go to click the sharing, and then
this guy hates me.
All right, share screen. Yes,
go to share and then on the right, there's a thing that says share with sound. Check that box.
Share with sound. Yeah. Okay, good. Wow, this is great. Okay, so can you hear me now? And can you see the screen?
Yes.
Yep. Okay, so it says this is Flat Earth Dave's YouTube channel. And he had info. We're going to call him AJ because as soon as they hear the name, they'll shut it down. But they put the not suitable for YouTube link in the description. And that was the same week that Flat Earth Dave appeared on the podcast that you're listening to now. So what I did was I took some clips. And like Dustin Nemos said, for whatever reason, Alex Jones does not want to have Dustin Nemos for myself. Oh, no.
Okay, it's okay. Keep going.
You can bleep it out, right?
Yeah, whatever.
One time.
One time. Okay. So he doesn't want to have Dustin Nemos or I on his show. And apparently when Dave went on his show, boy, he was incredibly rude to you, Dave, and I think you were very much a good sport about this. Let's show this to the audience. And
He was weird that day.
Yeah,
weird
I will
that
stop.
day. He's weird. He's like that every day. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, I'll let you play this in 1 second. Eddie and I went in there, you know, and Alex is like, I don't want to talk about flat Earth. Before we went on, he was texting Eddie, and you know, and we just did it anyway. We didn't think we get out half of what we got out. We were happy with the amount that we got out, knowing that he's an over talker. You know, he wants to control the show. But we got our points out, and it was a super high rated show because we were right. You know, the whole Trump nonsense was going on, so it was literally like we were the sitcom after the Super Bowl. So we were in hour 3.
It was worth it just to see you make him spaz out the way he did.
He really did. He really did spaz out.
He spazzed out so hard.
Really,
I've watched him since I was
commercials.
During the commercials, Eddie was rousing him. Eddie's just like, Alex, you're doing a good job playing like you don't know. You know, keep it up because I understand you don't want to take on a position. You know, and Alex is just like, he had this like this shitty grin on his face, and he's kind of just nodding and wasn't denying it.
Yeah, he absolutely knows. He's a smart guy.
Yeah, he knows. He just, listen, his number one thing is to support his operation. So his number one thing is money, right? And he knows if he brings on FE, it's going to hurt him. Sponsors, whatever, you know, it's going to hurt him.
I just want to mention that despite my work appearing in his podcast recently, the guy hates me. He's threatened to kill me on air before. I've got it all proof, clip, everything. He bleeped it out later. And this guy has been terrified to even say my name for years now, despite having spent at least 60 minutes in attacking me with Owen Schroyer and like back and forth, all these other things, waving my book around, saying I'm going to come after you, all this stuff. He hates me, and he's terrified of me.
Congratulations.
I'd love to debate him.
He's not alone. I can assure you of that, Dustin. Thanks to having you on my podcast. Not only do they hate you, they hate me too. All right.
I do get that. It follows me.
So here we go.
All right. Okay, let's go to the next.
Your producer asked about circumnavigation, Magellan.
No, I asked them.
Yeah. Go for it.
No, but let's go back. We'll do that. Let's take your stuff one piece at a time.
Way to do it.
So there's this big thing I've seen for 10 years on the internet where they claim like, oh, the United States had giant cities all over it, and these buildings you see that are built, even though we can know when they're built, it's on record, the newspapers are built, those don't exist. So there's a new documentary out. You're telling me about it.
Can we see the trailer?
Yeah, we'll play the trailer. And then meanwhile, I've got like family diaries from 200 years ago with you know, describing fighting the Indians and all the stuff. But you guys are saying there was like metropolis is right where we're at.
We repopulated the earth. All of these cities we hear, and then
It's like Westworld,
we
Alex.
had horses and buggies next to these giant buildings.
Horse and buggy
Old World Order.
technology.
You can find it at flatearthdave.com. There's a big banner. Just click it. It will change your life.
Okay, great. And it's just boom. Like it's just boom. The United States was one giant city. None of the family diaries are right. None of the people passing information on. There was nothing here except pure cities.
That's all or none attitude.
Pure cities.
There's lots of truth.
No. None of these buildings were built. They were built thousands of years ago. Okay, so let's play the trailer. Here it is. Here we go. This is total.
I just want to point out how he's so sarcastic with everything, and he's really dismissive of what you're saying. Why do you suppose that is? He doesn't want to believe in Tartaria or this old world order, which is clearly obvious if you've traveled around the world as I have, and I've seen this firsthand myself.
Easy. Yeah, it's an emotional manipulation technique to force people to just drop discernment and ridicule. It's called appeal to ridicule. In logical debate, it is you lose. And that's what Alex Jones relies on when he comes to things like this. He has to appeal to, he has to appeal to ridicule and such.
Dave, you handled it really well. And I'm going to play a clip where you come back and you really kind of put him in his place. Were you prepared for this going in? Or
there was our game plan fell off track about 4 seconds after we started talking. So everything we had planned literally got off the table. And we just went for that. And that's how it goes. You know, people Monday morning quarterback, you know, me all the time. Oh, you should have done this. You should have done that. I do that all the time. I'm like, oh, I wish I did this. I wish I did that. I had all sorts of things to say in there. And you never know what's going to happen. So I was just free flowing, you know, see how the conversation would go, seeing where we can take it.
All right, let's get back into this.
Paradox is the system's lying, so now we believe nothing.
No, the system is not lying. They're telling the truth.
Stone buildings never burn. Stone buildings are full of tapestries, full of wood girders. They burn to the fucking ground, Eddie.
What temperature does stone melt?
So,
okay.
He's saying that stone buildings burn to the ground. Show me a stone building that burns to the ground that's supported by stone. like a stone building, not a wood building with a second floor made of stone. Show me a stone building. Like, why don't fireplaces burn down?
I can show you a still columned building or two.
Yeah, you can. That burned down. Yeah, very good. It's so crazy.
Yeah, I mean, he loses credibility when he says things like that are just so blatantly dumb.
All right, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, the thing is, I was thinking the same thing, David, and the tapestries and the wood beams and all that stuff. Yeah, that stuff burns, but the stones, that doesn't burn. So I don't know what he's talking about. It's very strange.
We have megalithic structures all over the world, including in North America. We have all sorts of things that destroy official history, official archaeology, official timelines.
Everywhere,
like
every
stone,
town.
like the Lost Luna Stone, etc.
Everywhere. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I was just really surprised with his unwillingness.
Our goal with that segment was to get people to watch Old World Order. Those are people that are brand new to this fake history stuff. And if they watch that video, then they can make up their own mind. Just watch the video. It's all by the way, that video on my website, flatearthdave.com, there's a big banner right near the top. Old World Order. It's free. Just watch it, and then your whole world will open up. Your whole mind will open up.
It's really worth watching. It really is.
Girders collapse, it falls apart.
The stone girders?
What? So stone.
No, there's wood girders in those.
Stone melts with fire.
You guys, let me say something.
No.
I'm glad we're doing this because this is complete mental illness. I have the family diaries of my family.
I mean, it's interesting. He's saying this is complete mental illness, and then he's referring to his family diaries. And listen to how Dave retorts on this.
In Virginia and in Georgia and in Tennessee and Alabama, coming and getting Mexican land grants. My dad has in a safe 200-year-old, 170-year-old Mexican land grants. There was nothing here. We had to fight the Apaches or the Comanches to literally build this. There was nothing here. And then you sit there and say, because architecture used to be more beautiful, which is true, that it was built, and then you say airships were around for thousands of years during the break. That's crazy.
If nothing was there, why
airships, because they didn't have enough helium. They were full of hydrogen. When the Hindenburg blew up, they were too slow, so airplanes took it over. Are you saying airplanes are fake?
Airplanes are fake?
Or
Who says that?
Is that what you're asking?
No, you told me.
Yeah. You see, you're right about the argument that he's making, Dustin. He's putting words in your mouth.
I love logic.
To ridicule you, but that's not what you said. I really like Eddie Bravo here. He's handling it really well.
They're a scam.
Straw man?
No.
Straw man?
The Wright brothers, that was the Wright brothers story is hilarious.
Look at him squirm.
Go ahead and tell me. Jesus Christ. Guys, please. I mean,
You call him out on the logic.
Are you saying the U.S. Capitol's 1,000 years old? Tell me what buildings are fake and who built them?
We don't know. I'm not making any claims. We can show you, though. They said this building was built in 1850, and there's a picture of it in 1790 with 100-year growth on it.
So that somebody made in a Photoshop?
Oh, everything's Photoshop now, right?
No, it's on record. They built it in a swamp there. They built the U.S. Capitol. It's on record.
Besides Old World Order, there's a channel called My Lunch Break.
Oh, my God, a channel. How old is the Empire State Building?
I have no idea.
Oh, you're just saying it's all built by somebody else, but it's not.
There's pictures.
No. You were going to say, Dave?
No, I was going to say, he asked me how old the Empire State Building was. I have no idea. But the official story is the year after the Great Depression started, they started building the Empire State Building, and it was finished in 1 year or 2 years. I forget. Either way, it's ridiculous, right? Horse and buggies, basically, very little power equipment. They built that in 2 years in the middle of the Depression.
They were putting up one story per week or per day, I think.
Yes.
It's a ridiculous number, but they had that thing built, like you said.
That building was here.
Videos of airships.
Okay, are you saying the Taj Mahal? Tell me right now which buildings were built before.
The Age of Atlantis.
I don't know. I make no claims other than the story that they tell us doesn't line up. There are videos of giant airships connecting to the Empire State Building, to the Eiffel Tower, to other towers.
There are videos of Donald Trump eating shit. They're fake.
Okay, so they're fake?
Dude, we built North America. They built in the Renaissance, and before that, the big cathedrals that are gorgeous. The fact we're not caring as craftsmen and not and with air conditioning, they made buildings big and square to cool them.
Here's what I say.
We built on the bones of the old
world. Watch these videos,
world.
watch these movies.
Yeah, we did. We built on the bones of the old world. Exactly.
Make up your own mind. Don't just listen to us because we're just talking about stuff here. I don't have all the facts. I don't make any claims. Watch these videos and figure it out yourself.
This is a serious mind virus. I'm going to ask you a question. How do they fire cruise missiles from a ship and 1,000 miles away, shoot it down somebody's chimney?
Through the ground positioning system.
Flat Earth.
GPS.
It's a ground positioning.
Yeah, because the Earth is spinning and wobbling. You got air, so the Earth is spinning and making.
What were you going to say?
It's the ground positioning system.
Yeah.
It was the Loran system, which was towers intersecting lines on a two-dimensional grid system. And then in the 70s or 80s, whatever, they said, oh, we're going to put a graphic overlay over it and call it GPS. It's the exact same system, okay? And they just put high-altitude photos stitched over it. And then it wasn't until, I think, 2001 where they put curvature into Google Earth. Google Earth was flat before that. And then they curved it after 2001. I think that's it. Don't call me on that.
Why is it that people like Alex Jones and the trolls that come on?
Said it again.
AJ. They think that you have a mind virus, that this is a mind virus. So where does that concept come from? Why is it that the people that see it as a globe, as us just spinning around
fear. We destroy them in debates, both of us. I mean, it's absolute fear. We're not even. David's great. I'm not the best. Witsit's probably the best. We always win the debates.
Yeah.
I mean, you totally made Alex Jones have like smoke coming out of his ears.
All those motions that Eddie was describing before, and somehow a satellite is mirroring all of those in space. How does it do that?
Mathematics.
You know, they had the
mathematics.
Man. Alex, they had the Loran system.
The same way, the same way with a cell phone can encode a voice and do that. It's the same. It's
Alex,
compression.
They had the Loran system here when I was growing up before satellites, and then it did everything that GPS does, and all of a sudden they said, oh, we got satellites in the sky now, and they just put a graphic overlay over it with cartoons, and that's it, and they call it, it's all done by satellites. It's not done by satellites. Satellites, if you actually look at it.
Nuclear weapons aren't real. All the buildings we see, we didn't build.
All the buildings, we said that.
Yes.
We say that? All the buildings?
No, I'm saying what buildings were built by somebody else.
You said we just.
No. You're saying nothing was. Tell me what buildings were built when and by who.
Well,
is this real journalism?
I don't remember them off the top of my head, but go watch that film.
He sounds like the trolls in the comment section.
He does.
When, we speak about things. It's amazing.
And they're getting their cues from him and other intellectual leaders like him, who I would say are the last gatekeepers of the burning wagon that's being circled.
And, you know, it's interesting because what this does is it fuels the confusion and the division, which at this point in history, we need to overcome because nobody knows what to believe. Nobody knows who to believe. And there's some people who understand what you, myself, and Dave are saying, and others that are just so vitriolic with anger at us for daring to even speak
One side is engaged in honest debate, constantly winning, and says, don't trust us, check it for yourself.
And the other side constantly strawmans and lies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how is the United States of America going to survive when you have this division? You can't even agree on whether the earth is flat or round.
Well, luckily for us, when we apply logic, explain things, and somebody that still has a mind that's not as fluoridated as they want it, they, as in the elite, they wake up. And when they wake up to this truth, they never leave. Once you see the truth, you can't unsee it. And everyone's like, well, if everyone knew the truth and everything, the place would go crazy. No, if everyone knew the truth, the world would be very peaceful. There would be no wars, right? We have wars and we have fear and we have violence because people are lost, have no idea who they are, what this place is, the true power of their mind. And we're winning. We're winning. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I thought you were done. When people finally realize this truth, there will be a worldwide political, physical revolution. Things will change. The world powers will lose their power. They are desperately trying to hide God because God means a lot of things to a population. Not only is it hope for a better future, hope for a better afterlife, it's also judgment in the now. You're aware that you're being watched and you will not comply when they say to do things that are bad.
I can speak from personal experience, having lived in China during, before, and after the Wuhan virus outbreak, and now living in the former Soviet Union on the border with Russia. The people in China, it reminded me of the United States in the 80s with the conspicuous consumption. The 80s, to me, were great times. I love the music of the 80s, the energy of the 80s. I was growing up in New York City. I had a great time. But the people there, they were fearful of their government in the sense that it was Big Brother on steroids. There were cameras, multiple cameras everywhere. To have a conversation like we're having right now would have to be held in locations that were isolated. If you've ever seen the movie 1984, there were certain places near parks where you could actually have conversations like what we're having. But otherwise, the Chinese lived in fear of sharing knowledge. However, I must say this, because they went through the Mao Revolution and it was relatively recent history and their elders live within the family, they have a better family structure, they have more cohesion there. They know more than the United Slaves of America do as far as history goes. And now living here in the former Soviet Union with these people who literally broke free of that communism in the 80s and 90s, and it's still fresh in some of their minds because some of them were 6 years old or 10 years old when it happened. So they remember that. They remember seeing their fathers go through it, their grandparents. And so they don't want to go back to that. I think the problem in the United States, from what I see, is that they have no idea what's happening around them because it's insidious. It's like a frog being boiled in water. And so they're just like, oh, this water is nice. It's comfortable, you know, but before you know it, you're going to get boiled. So I agree with both of you in the sense that these people, I'm in an Orthodox country and they have a family cohesion. They have faith in God and they read books more so than seeing people on their cell phones. I see people actually picking up books and enjoying books by Tolstoy and really like masters of literature. The other thing I want to point out is that these people, when the pandemic broke out and they were trying to keep people isolated and they were not allowing them to go into stores, the people were so united, and Greg Reese recently did a report on this. They didn't go to the stores. They said, okay, forget it. We'll survive amongst ourselves. So the store owners were going out of business. They had to go to the mayor of Moscow and say, hey, listen, you got to stop with this this nonsense of needing to force people to have IDs and wear masks and stuff. The people aren't doing it. So it didn't last not even a month. But that was because the people together united. And that's the problem that I see in the United States. And I see it in particular with what we're discussing, the three of us here, because people are not even willing to accept. Listen, we've got Dustin Nemos and Flat Earth Dave and me, who, you know, whatever, willing to discuss this topic. And the people in the comment section, the first thing they say is, you're a shill, he's a Jew, and the other guy is a CIA. You know, it's like, really? That's what we are?
No one has any dirt on me at all.
Know? I mean, it's like, give me a break, man.
I've got dirt on you, Dustin.
Nobody has any. I mean, I've admitted some stuff in my past. Like I've got a criminal record and such because my sister left some drugs in my house and such. But that's all of my own testimony. People knew that years ago. All that stuff's old and hashed out since I was doxxed and such. So there's really nobody who ever shows that I have lied about anything. Like, there's nobody who can show that I've been controlled by anybody. I'm 100% independent. No man can call me a shill. No man.
Well, the thing that they say about you, Dustin, is that your ego is such that you stand behind the Bible and you're not willing to accept anybody else's
no one's been able to beat me in a debate yet. I'm undefeated.
Yeah, and people hate that about you. They want you to
not
be
ego,
more.
It's truth.
Hey, you mentioned 1984 before, and that was on my notepad, on my iPad. I had a list of notes, and the top one in 48-point type, well, because Alex loves 1984, is when he says, why would they lie? I say, because they want you to believe 2 + 2 is 5. Right. Yeah. And that would have shut him up. And then if we get it, if he sticks on 1984, the scene with the torture scene with Winston, he says that the earth is flat and that the sun and the stars circle above us. I mean, in 1984, it talks about flat earth. I'm not going to mention which person.
Orwell did.
Yeah.
Orwell talked about flat earth.
Yeah. So somebody, an inside person there told me to bring that up. And it was the number one thing. Well, we're off track and I never said it. Biggest regret.
Why?
I wish I brought it up. It would have been good. It would have quieted him down for another 30 seconds, maybe.
Where are the right words when you need them? I know.
Yeah. They come and they go. It's all right.
Yeah. I also want to remind people, and I don't know how much of this news got out in the United States, but when the whole lockdown was going on in China, without weapons, without a Second Amendment, the Chinese rose up, and they were in such a high force that Xi Jinping and the military had to back down. Because what the people in the United States seem to forget is that when you're united, there's numbers that outnumber the military and outnumber everybody. And there are good people in the military as well, just like in China. So they back down. And these people were fighting back with brooms, with sticks, with rocks. And the United States are just so divided. But again, it's a strategy. It's a divide and conquer strategy. And that's what's allowing the U.S. to crumble like Sodom and Gomorrah.
I just want to mention for educational only purposes that when choosing your arrowheads or your crossbow heads, the solid metal ones will penetrate the shields that police carry.
For educational purposes. Very good.
Yes, very good. And the
Because
thing
that
is,
happens in dictatorship type countries. People need to know these things.
well, what's happened in the USA is that they've gotten rid of all the good cops. I speak with good cops all the time, and they said they were forced to get out because every time that they go up, and this happened to me when I was at the Naval Academy, as I was reporting toxic leadership, and I went up my chain of command, I noticed that the person that I reported this toxic leadership to was in cahoots with the people that were doing the dirty deeds. So that's the problem, is that they reward bad behavior. And that's why now you have all these people, these dirty judges, these bad lawyers, and they're corrupt to the core. So honestly, I mean, and it's really weird because when I speak to the people here in this country and in other countries, they don't even want to go to the United States. They're like, oh no, the US is done. Like, I think most of the world feels that the US time of glory is past, and that now it's entering into a dark age. I want to ask you guys on a level, because you're living there, how does that feel to know that even, like, I'm in an impoverished country, I'm in a developing nation, US aid is here, the Peace Corps is here, and these people don't want to go to the United States. That's weird. You know,
I would like to get out of here, but I will mention, like, prophetically speaking, the one of the banned books from the Bible that was from the prophet Ezra, Second Esdras, which they took out because of accurate prophecies about Christ and such. Totally political decision. But this book, which has tons of accurate prophecies, has a prophecy called the Three-Headed Eagle prophecy, which basically says America is about to get wiped out and destroyed by an Israeli-controlled Rome, the final world government.
Yeah, I've heard that as well. And Dave, look, I have friends, I have people on my show that are, because of their ancestors, JEWS. How does that make you feel, knowing that supposedly the pogroms are coming and you may be thrown into that group, even though, like you say, you're not even a practicing JEWS?
Yeah, you know,
in the back of your mind, like, how does that make you feel?
It doesn't make me feel anything, because I don't believe in systemic racism. I don't believe that, you know, all this racism that they say is going around, it's all made up. It's all theater, right? I've never experienced racism in my physical real life. You know, maybe somebody, you know, because they're a little mind controlled and they're stuck here and there and like, oh, you know, whatever. But I don't think that that's it at all. Hey, if somebody comes invades here, you know, invading America, I'm not going to go, well, what is their background? What's my relationship to them? No, they're a friggin' invader. Okay. And that's it. You know, we're all humans here having experience. We're doing our best. I believe that God will put me in the right place at the right time. So I'm doing the best I can and enjoying the max this time that we're living in right now, which is really exciting. I'm never bored, right? Boredom is I'm more afraid of boredom than the downfall of America. I'm not bored.
You know, that's what I love about you two guys, whether you're CIA, Mossad, or whatever the heck you guys are.
Can't we be both?
Yeah. I'm both.
No, you guys are CIA Mossad. No, I don't think anybody accused me of that. They just said I was arrogant, which is not true, but, you know, we all have an ego.
Oh, yeah. You're super arrogant. But no, I love the fact that we're even able to communicate like this and laugh. You know, that's the whole purpose. We're not meant to be fighting, man. We're meant to be united. We're meant to sit around the fire and have these discussions after a day of hunting and taking care of our family and friends. You know,
they don't want us to know the purpose of life here is spreading love, you know, loving your neighbor. You know, just it's an amazing realm we're in. But they have us putting love on the back burner, putting hate out there, putting shortage, putting fear. None of that is real, right? You know why everyone on you know, videos of, you know, cat and dog videos, people love cat and dog videos. You know why? Because they're awesome, right? They're amazing. You know, the dogs. You know, dog is God backwards. What is the purpose of a dog? It's literally unconditional love. I mean, if you had to boil it down to one thing, a dog is unconditional love. I think there is something with the dog being God backwards. I think dogs were put here to teach us how to love unconditionally. Right?
Speaking of unconditional love, let's get back to AJ.
Yes, go.
The information's been done for you. It's all been organized.
Oh, I see the photos where it says a cathedral is really 20 stories deep and there's really something under it.
Some of them are.
Yeah.
Go look at
How is that so
They're
crazy?
Finding stuff now in construction sites.
They sue you for $1 trillion, and you're defending that system?
Yeah.
No, I get it. Because the system's lying doesn't mean whatever we make up is real.
You don't think we know that?
I want to just mention
You don't think
that,
you're telling me something I just
The same people that tell you don't trust the fake news because like it's government propaganda, it's government funded, largely that is true, et cetera, will not touch history or science, which are more government funded even than fake news. Like science is 99%, 95% something government funded. You cannot have a successful career in science essentially unless you're pushing fake science to debunk God or control people. Climate change, evolution, globe earth, some of that nonsense, basically.
The way you become a leader in science or in education is you repeat and don't question. Repeat, memorize, repeat, regurgitate, and don't question. And then you become a professor.
You know, it's really weird, and I'm not advocating for communism at all because I've lived in it and I've experienced it, and it's in no way, shape, or form cool. But I will say that I learned more about world history living inside of China from those Chinese people than I did in my entire life as a college graduate. I'm like, wait a minute. My eyes were so open when I lived in China. They told me about the Opium Wars, about the Mao Revolution. I learned about the Bolshevik Revolution. Now that I'm here, I've learned about Holodomor. I've learned about the reality of World War II and World War I. And they know the
Might
plan.
get some keyword triggering there.
But I mean, it's just amazing how in the United States, they don't teach you these things. And like you said, they actually cover it up. So I think the greatest trick that the U.S. government was able to employ on its people is the illusion that they're free. And they're really not free. I didn't realize how much freedom I didn't have as an American citizen until I got out of the United States. And that's not saying much, by the way, because I can tell you this, like the only reason I had such freedoms in China was because I was hanging out with members of the Communist Party. I was surrounded by the elites there, staying in five-star hotels and meeting with advisors to Xi Jinping because I'm an artist and because they were picking my brain. Because in China, you're not allowed to have this kind of free thought that we're having, these kind of conversations. You have to follow what they tell you. So they looked at me like I was a unicorn because they couldn't believe some of the things that were coming out of my mind when they were asking me questions for solutions to problems, which I understood. They were picking my brains. But yeah, I mean, if, like, for example, I held a conference on free speech and censorship, which is unheard of in China. But the only reason they allowed me to do this in front of an audience and being filmed for broadcast on television was because I was talking about how I was censored and banned in the United States of America. So the Chinese were letting their people know, hey, listen, the US is always talking about how we censor, but here's this artist who had to move to China so that he could speak truth to power because they're censoring him in the United States. I mean, that's tremendous irony there, you know? So anyway, let's get back to AJ.
Oh my God.
Hey, Eddie,
I just figured it out.
Hey,
let's
Alex,
keep going here.
We see
So
too far.
just because they have
We see too far.
communications relay systems on blimps, they've never denied that. You said they banned blimps, they didn't. There are also satellites that are 20,000 miles away.
How do you know that?
How do you know that?
How do
Because
they? How
NASA
do they
told-
They're
mirror?
synchronous, they're
NASA told
How do they
geosynchronous.
mirror all? The Earth is orbiting, chasing, and spinning. How do they stay geosynchronous? How does that one satellite stay over the Earth while the Earth is curving through space at crazy speeds in 4 different directions?
Because it locks into gravity in one spot.
It
Same
locks
reason,
into gravity.
same reason the
At one
moon is
spot.
not the
What
same way.
gravity? Einsteinian gravity or Newtonian gravity?
Well,
Which one?
Newtonian gravity is expanded in a unified field theory.
So it's the bending and warping of space-time holds the satellite in space, right? What is the
No, the
bending,
bending and warping of space-time
is the new gravity.
no, well, that's one of the positives of the whole operation.
or electrostatic?
No, you
look
just
into
know that the
electrostatic?
public has no scientific knowledge, so you can write fiction and claim, oh, yeah, Easter bunnies come out of Santa Claus's ass,
Not true.
and that's how it all works.
Opposite
No,
of it.
you're
Build a ridicule.
saying that a bunch of these buildings were built thousands of years ago in North America. And yeah, in Ohio and places, there are a bunch of pyramids, and we know that built by the fucking Aztecs. What I'm saying to you is, no one's denying in Mexico City there isn't a big-ass pyramid. No one's denying in Chichen Itza there isn't. No one's saying that didn't go on. These buildings are on record being built, and you point at them and say, that wasn't built by us. Well, then who built the airplanes? Who built all these new cities?
Do people
Who built
fake
all the
false
systems?
records?
Who did know we're doing all this?
Alex, there's lots.
How did you feel, Dave, when he was pointing his finger at you and screaming at you in the studio? I'm sure being there with him, you felt that energy, that
You know,
force.
I for all my life, if I had to speak in front of 2 or more people, I was petrified. I was shaking. My voice quivered. You put me in front of a microphone. I walked in there. I had 0 nerves, 0 issues. He pointed at me. I'm just like, all right. When he's done, I'll say something. You know, and I'm just like, when do I speak? I had 0. It's just Alex. I expected exactly what we got, and we did better than I thought. So it didn't bother me. I just
Yeah, 'cause Look
I
at you.
expect it.
You're actually grinning. You're just totally cool under
I'm
that.
laughing at him.
It's because Alex is spazzing out. He's destroying himself.
Yeah.
He literally is. It's
That's what truth does
unbelievable.
to people who won't accept truth.
Yeah.
They get crazy.
Yeah.
And we're the crazy ones.
Yeah.
And when he was screaming at you, that must have been pretty loud, right?
Yeah.
Alex, he's an expert on
I had a
false and fake
volume.
history.
I have a volume controller for my headphones, so I can turn them down so it's not so loud in my ears.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So Alex knows fake history. He's an expert on it.
Record. You believe everything just because it's on record that it's true?
No, here's an example. I have diaries of my family coming here where there was nothing and building railroads.
You should have,
Did they go
copies
everywhere?
of that diary right here with all these notes.
Your
I know,
CIA
that's what
family?
I'm not mad at Kanye West, but he was here a year and a half ago. And I said, look, both my grandfathers were in World War II, the European theater. My dad's dad did his missions. He doubled them. He didn't do 21 missions or 22 missions. He did 40-something. And then he was involved in logistics in Germany. And he said he wouldn't talk about it, but I asked him to tell me, he said there were dead bodies and millions of dead people everywhere. And we went
War
into death
criminal
camps, and there were piles of dead bodies. And we had to
officer
literally
died.
bulldoze them into giant pits. And everyone was throwing up. And the Germans didn't even know what was happening. It was compartmentalized. And I had Kanye say, your grandfather knows nothing. So you just
faking
said,
history.
you just
He's
said,
faking history.
you just said my family.
Yeah.
So his CIA dad, probably his corrupt whole CIA family, which, by the way, is married in Israel politics, is also involved in all sorts of bad things, just like he's a chip off the old block. It's a CIA family. I mean, probably also Mossad, because that, when I put that in my book, it triggered the hell out of him. So it's probably true. We have evidence for it, but he is essentially just a gatekeeper, and he's getting triggered by the truth here.
One of the things that I also learned living outside of the United States is that the number of people who actually died during the HOL cost actually died because the allies, the U.S. and the good guys,
Carpet bombed.
They carpet bombed, but they also kept food and supplies from coming in.
Wait, didn't Eisenhower have 1 million soldiers, prisoners, and then just starve them out in the end? Just kept them in a field?
A lot of bad things happened, basically. Yeah.
And he killed a million soldiers after the war ended. He killed 1 million soldiers, but no, you can't talk about that. That might have been the bulldozing he's talking about.
And not only that, they actually did. They took bodies of some of the German soldiers and put them there for photo ops. And then they brought in the filmmakers and filmed it. And the people who actually were in the death camps said, oh, those aren't real, because when we were leaving, it was cold and it was
Frank's
winter.
sister, yeah.
Go there. And the other thing is, what happened with those German soldiers, they put them in a fenced-in area, and then they had U.S. military. Anybody who tried to escape, they shot them, and then they just kept them from eating or drinking anything. And that's how you killed the people quickly, is you just starve them and don't give them water. And they killed them within less than 2 weeks. They killed millions of soldiers, but they don't talk about that. And then again, I'm not excusing what happened, and I've actually traveled to Dachau, and I wanted to see for myself, because whenever people tell me this, I'm like, wait a minute, I got to see this for myself. And I'm not saying that there weren't people. As a matter of fact, one thing I learned when I was in Dachau is that people like us were the ones that were put in those concentration camps because we were daring to speak truth to power. So it wasn't just the JEWS that were thrown in there. There were artists were thrown in there, you know. And
those camps were basically spas and resorts.
Yeah, they had pools, they had like theaters, they had
they were well taken care of until being deported, not killed.
Yeah, they had brothels. Why would you put brothels in a place where you're planning on killing? They even had hospitals there. Like, none of this makes any sense.
They had daycare, swimming pools, pianos. They had music lessons. They had all sorts of things going on. And then essentially the Allies carpet bombed them, and forced starvation conditions. The Germans and the prisoners alike began to starve and die of typhus en masse.
What's weird is that living outside of the United States, speaking with the Russians, speaking with the Chinese, and even a lot of Germans come here because during the pandemic, Germany was not a good place to be. And the Germans are so scared of speaking the truth. It's funny, like they'll speak to me, and I've done interviews with them, but they are like, oh, no, we don't want to show our face, but we will tell you the truth.
Broken people.
Yeah, they're just totally broken.
Well, it's illegal to say these things in most countries. I'd like to share an image at some point as well on this, just briefly.
Okay, yeah. As a matter of fact, let me stop sharing here, and let's have you, because now that we're in this moment, share the image that you want. Can you now?
It just clicks the thing, and it won't actually let me for some reason. There we go. Okay, now it's showing.
You want to interject on this?
Can you see this?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I posted that on my page the other day. it seems like you and I are on a similar trajectory.
This is a tiny summary of just all the facts. Like we have court records, we have everything, and this is a government enforced historical event. And we're getting to that point even here in the U.S. where these new definitions are being adopted by the governments of the states and the U.S. government federally. So, I mean, these are just a couple things to start the journey if this is a new topic for people. But they fake history, just like they fake science, just like they fake news, they fake everything. And they then had the red carpet rolled out and essentially became our deep state within 2 generations because of this lie.
What's interesting is now this is happening to people who are Christians. First, they were doing this to the JEWS, but now it's clear they're trying to kill Christians all over the world. Yeah. So what's weird is that, like, if the Christians don't wake up, they will be eliminated. I'm not saying that lightly, because there's a Kalergi plan and it's part of Agenda 2030. And the thing is to get rid of the white male like you, Dustin, because they feel that you're a threat because of your knowledge, and also they don't want you to breed. So
I'm probably going to start a revolution sooner or later.
So
they don't want you around.
I shared a meme the other day on all over the place and on Twitter, and I got my first strike on Twitter. I'm just going to share it. We don't need to say anything. It's a funny meme with a dog. Let me show you. Can you guys see that?
Yeah, I did that one too.
And I got a strike on Twitter, and I fought it. I'm like, what are you talking about? A dog's ordering pizzas and they can't cook enough pizzas. What's wrong with you? And they held it up.
Yeah.
You know,
it's pretty funny. That's pretty
funny. Technically on X, but I can't log in. I can't post any comments. I can't see anything. And when I write to them and tell them to just take my account off, they don't even respond. They leave it on there because what they're doing is they're fudging the numbers. So even that isn't true. The people that they claim you have freedom of speech, but not freedom of reach. So again, we are in an information war. And I was on SGT Report with Sean. I mentioned Elon Musk. I mentioned my reservations about Donald Trump. And, you know, people are they're afraid to talk about this or go down that rabbit hole, just like they're afraid to talk about flat Earth. There's certain topics that are just, I don't know, it's like taboo, which is strange to me, because what kind of a society are we creating for our future generations if they're not allowed to even question the reality of their existence?
Right.
Good one.
Okay, let me go back to AJ here, because we were in the middle of something that, okay, hold on a second. I didn't do it with the sound. So I will do it with share sound. And let's get back to this here. Hold on a second. Okay.
Bible. We bought the land from Santa Anna. There's graveyards.
I was raised in Santa Anna.
Santa Anna was a Mexican dictator. We have a graveyard, a property we sold, Plum Creek Ranch now, that has people that says killed by Comanches 1827. So I know we live there. I knew my grandma. I knew them. There's trees they planted 150 years ago. You're telling me they came here, there was nothing. They describe it. You're saying, no, all the cities were already there. You're telling me, don't believe my grandmother.
Listen. I got a family member that's a doctor. She went to school and she's a doctor. She believes in vaccines. That's my family.
No, Eddie.
You think my family's lying?
Eddie, there's a graveyard on our property. It's not ours anymore.
No, I got family members that
from our main ranch house. If
they write it in their diary.
If I walk through the woods 1,000 yards on a hill, there are hundreds of graves with Johnsons and Joneses and Browns, my family, and it's dead people. That's my family. They're real, and in their diaries there was nothing here.
What kind of car did they have back then? What kind of car?
They had horses.
They had horses. Right. I have a car that goes very fast, can go great distances. I live in a little tiny state called Connecticut, and I haven't seen 99% of it. And I've been here for 60 years. Right. So your guys with horse and buggies, did they look around and see if there's any buildings all over the United States?
Oh, wow. So let me tell you, was the Texas Capitol built?
I don't know.
Well, the Texas Capitol was built with...
That's a great argument that you made.
It is.
And instead, he laughed at it. So
he has to.
Again, you make really good points, Dave. What's interesting is you didn't speak much, but the moment that you did speak, you really set him in his place. And I do appreciate the things that Alex Jones has shared with the public, and I've learned a lot from him. But the more that I see him, the more I realize he's a gatekeeper.
Yeah. I want to share something about Starlink at some point, too, since we were talking about it earlier. I was looking for it. I found it.
Okay, cool, because we're going to get into that. He talks about that as well.
Slave labor from Convict Hill in South Austin, on record with a train station they built. And I had family involved in the construction of the state capitol, that beautiful thing. You're saying that was built 1,000 years ago by Beelzebub?
Trust my CIA
I'm
dad.
not
Trust
saying
my
1,000
CIA
years ago.
family.
I don't know. And a lot of these construction stories are they redo it. They take it and they refab it or refurb it.
No, just because you got a bunch of shacks around a beautiful temple, just like in India, people go like in Cairo. You've got these huge pyramids built 3,000 years ago, and next to it you got shanty towns. Humans can do amazing things, or they can build crap. The idea that, because there's a beautiful piece of architecture and other stuff with squalor means it's not real or it was built by somebody else, it's not true.
By the way, guys, have you been to the pyramids in Giza in Egypt?
I have not.
Not personally.
I was actually there, and I can tell you this. It's so gigantic, it doesn't seem like it could have been built by slaves. And also, it seemed engineered more as a power source. And from what I learned, there's actually water running under it. And the reason why there's 3 is because there's 2 backups for the main power source that is for intergalactic travel or interdimensional travel or whatever you want to call. But that was used as the way they have for electric vehicles now, charging stations. So do you guys know about that or no?
Yeah. And there's also some evidence that Khufu, who built the Great Pyramid, was Shem, Noah's son also. And it was a post-flood creation because the Sphinx was destroyed by water nearly, and the pyramids were not. There's actually a lot of interesting history around that particular area that confirms the Great Flood of Noah worldwide.
What do you know about that, Dave?
Basically what he just said.
Because it seems like there's pyramids all over the world.
They're everywhere. In China, there's like bigger ones than Giza, and there's like hundreds
it's
of
a technology. It was like a power plant in the ancient world.
That's
and
what I'm saying.
They were often filled with mercury as well.
Yeah, exactly. And there are these like weird hidden chambers that apparently Napoleon went into and Caesar went into to gain power from. Have you guys?
There's a tunnel beneath the Sphinx that like only recently has been acknowledged officially, that we still don't know what's down there and such. There's all sorts of ancient things in the ancient world that are underground. Entire tribes lived underground in many cases. The Canaanites were kind of known for their underground like child sacrifice areas and such.
Are you guys familiar with that temple? It's the most ancient temple and archaeological site on Earth. It predates Stonehenge.
Machu Picchu?
No, it's actually in Turkey, and it's a religious place, but it's been taken over. Yeah,
oh, yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
And apparently it's been taken over by the World Economic Forum, and rather than allowing the archaeological site to be explored, they're hindering it, and they're actually destroying it by building roads over it and destroying what's underneath it. They're doing this on purpose.
Think about the Grand Canyon. 95% of it is off limits.
They're hiding God.
95% of the Grand Canyon is off limits. There's art. There's Egyptian stuff down there. There's underground, like a city down there. Like they don't want us to see it. Yeah,
off the coast, underwater cities
everywhere.
Also, have you heard that if let's say Trump gets in and he really wants to be the savior of the United States of America,
the Antichrist, Trump,
he would do away with the Federal Reserve and the fiat currency, which I don't know if you guys know, but the petrodollar is now dead. Saudi Arabia has officially said we are no longer using the petrodollar. So
it's been dead.
If I were you, I'd get the money out of the bank as soon as possible. But the thing is, supposedly the biggest gold reserve in the world is in the Grand Canyon. So if the United States decided to back its fiat currency with gold, the United States would be fixed relatively quickly on the world stage, being taken seriously. So that's one of the reasons why they have the Grand Canyon off limits to most people, is because there's gold in them, their hills.
Well, they won't give us a gold standard for the same reason they won't give us our true history, for the same reason they won't give us the free power pyramids and all these other things. They don't want us to have freedom. They don't want us to know about God. They're essentially Satanists wanting to drag us to hell with them. It's part of their religion. The deep state worships Satan. They worship the ancient Nephilim. It's all over their texts. They engage in all these weird rituals and such. It's well known, and it's in all of their symbols. They're hailing Satan in plain sight, like Google Chrome 666, etc.
Now, when you say they, Alex Jones calls them globalists.
Yes, he does.
Sean from SGT calls them Zionists. Sometimes people call them the deep state or I don't know, whatever name. But from what I've learned, and no offense to anybody out there who self-identifies as the JEWS, these people use the JEWS as a term so that they can hide behind the ADL and the word anti-Semitic, which is a fallacy because the Palestinians themselves are Semitic, and I think it's like 98% of the people who are living in Israel don't even have the DNA of people in Palestine. But what I'm trying to say is, like, these people are, like you said, Satanists. They're anti-human. They may not even be human. Why else would they not want us to have this connection to God that both of you are saying is the reason that flat Earth is poo-pooed by these people?
It's simple. They worship the ancient giants because they are of that bloodline. This is essentially the bloodline of the fallen angels, and their ancestors had elongated skulls, 30-foot tall plus stature, and 6 fingers on each hand, 6 toes on each foot. And early on, they had double rows of teeth. These giants were real. The bones are real. The archaeology's there. The megalithic structures they built were all over the world, like we were just talking about. So when we get into true history, true science, it's not just dinosaur bones we're finding all over the world. It's giant men, giant women, bones of giants, bones of monsters. These things were real. They got smaller, and they became our modern deep state. The Nephilim of Genesis 3:15, Genesis 6. God warned us about Zionism and communism and all these other isms with Loxism right there in Genesis 3:15.
Dave, bless you. What do you have to say about this?
I agree with everything you're saying, other than I don't believe dinosaurs as described were real. I think that dinosaurs were created to hide giant humans and dragons and other large, our large past. I just don't think dinosaurs as described. I believe there was giant things back then.
Dinosaurs, dragons, the same meaning, same words.
I got you.
Different language.
But basically, they want you to believe in the Tyrannosaurus Rex.
No. Yeah.
People go buy some Stegosaurus dolls and tell me how they made it.
Fresh, I'd like to see that one. But fresh gooey DNA have been found on like 17, 18 different types of dinosaurs or dragons that we have identified already, basically proving these things are not billions or millions or even thousands of years old. They're maybe a couple thousand years old max. But the fresh, like preserved nature of that DNA, you can extract like good blood in order to basically start cloning things and playing Jurassic Park.
I've had the conversation with people about dragons being real, and people are like, but fire breathing, that's so stupid. There's actually a beetle. I think it's a beetle that has 2 compartments in its body. One that has like hydrochloric acid and the other one that has like potassium or something. And it sprays them out together and it bursts into flames. It comes out of his ass, actually. So it could blow fire out of its ass.
It's like the Tremors movie.
Yeah. But this is a real friggin' beetle. Like now to put that into a dragon that's, thousands of feet long or however big you want to make it. You got some serious some serious firepower there. You
just told me where they got the ass blaster monster from the Tremors movies.
Probably.
I mean, they basically fart fire and go kill people.
It's a real beetle that does that. It's amazing.
They got it off of a beetle.
They did.
I concur with what you guys have both said, because I've also heard that in my travels and speaking with people. So let's get back to AJ.
Okay. All we're saying here.
Wait, you were going to say, Dustin?
I was going to say also in the pre-flood world, God talks about things like the behemoth whose tail was like a tree. I mean, I start to see that as like the long neck, like herbivore dinosaur or dragon that is peaceful, that coexists with mankind. And then when all flesh was corrupted by the time of Noah, you start seeing violence increasing on the earth, and all flesh, all minds increasingly on violence at all times. That makes me think that as part of all flesh becoming corrupted, not only are they trying to make themselves into gods with, adding different types of genetics to their own cells, mixing man and animal and such. But I think that they were trying to make weaponized beasts of burden, trying to create bioweapons. And I think that they took the genetics of the behemoth, mixed it, sinned against the flesh, mixing different types of species, and created the aggressive, violent, meat-eating varieties of dinosaur or dragon, which were essentially wiped out for the most part in the pre-flood world.
All right, back to
just go watch the film.
No, I get it. There's no nuclear weapons. Right. We never built anything.
We'll look into it instead of just claiming that there are nuclear weapons when you don't have any proof.
It's on the record.
Right? It's also on the record that you got people to go bug Sandy Hook parents. That's on the record.
It's not true.
It's on the record, though. It's on the record.
It's on the record.
You know what's on the record is you owe $1 trillion to the family. That's on the record.
On the record, I got $1 trillion. No,
that's on the record.
That's what I said earlier.
Hey, listen, let me finish this. Let me finish with this, and then we'll talk about Trump, Adam Schiff. I don't give a fuck. Let me finish with this. You know that YouTube puts labels on all truth videos, right?
Yeah, they do.
They'll put truth on every flat earth video. Why would they do that? Like where they put any flat Earth, and then if you punch in, there's a video called "The History of Flat Earth" by Eric Dubé. If you punch that in on YouTube right now, it won't take you to that. It'll take you to 100 videos that they produce to turn you away, turn you off from flat Earth. You could punch in a word for word, "The History of Flat Earth" by Eric Dubé. It won't come up. They'll give you 100 videos of videos.
I tried to. Let me tell you something. I tried to search.
Why would they do that?
I tried to search Trump Russia to see what they were going to say today on Google, and it wouldn't let me search it.
That's what I'm saying. Why would they do that?
Alex,
why would they do that?
If I looked up for like underwater
That's a
basketball a
non-sequitur.
year ago, I could go to my history and find it. If you watch a whole bunch of flat Earth videos, like some of my videos and other good videos, and then you go to your history, it's not there, and it's replaced with propaganda.
Doesn't that
videos.
make you a little suspicious?
It's
Based on all the shit you went through, you fucking went through all the shit. You should be questioning fucking everything. You should throw everything out.
We have a delay. We're on 300 radio stations.
Should
You gotta
be.
only cuss occasionally.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Listen,
Why isn't
Eddie,
You know I love you.
I'm just
Right here it
saying-
says, look, right here it says Sandy Hook families offer to settle Alex Jones' $1.5 billion legal debt
Be right back.
for a minimum of $85 million. They're trying to make deals with you. Hilarious. They're trying to make deals with Alex Jones. Like, okay, can you at least give us $85 million? And we're good. We're good. Yo, you're not going to agree to that, right?
No, I'm not.
Hysterical. And you believe NASA?
Got very
No,
quiet there.
because I don't believe the system doesn't mean I didn't believe anything else someone makes up.
I get it, Alex. You know
Alex,
I love you.
believe
We can talk about Trump.
being a
Hey, you know what?
skeptic-
Let's talk about
belief is the enemy of knowing, right? It's the lazy man's knowing. You can just believe anything. If you want to know, it takes time, and they're not going to feed you any real information. You could spend 500 hours looking for stuff. You're going to find nothing.
Yeah. So I think you handled yourself really well there, Dave. Anything else you want to add to that moment, which was pretty intense there with Eddie Bravo?
Yeah, I mean, thank God. God bless Eddie. Eddie, he's good friends with Alex and knows how to handle him. So Alex got really quiet when Eddie brought up that the little Sandy school. But on my website, here's the banner for the new Cokes. Please, if you don't know, here's the thing. When you hear a politician or the news or something say something about nukes, whether you're paying attention to it or not, if you believe nukes are real, then every cell in your body is now at dis-ease. Okay? It's literally stressed. But once you understand that nukes are not what they say, you literally giggle. I watch it, oh my God, the Russian ships are off of Florida. I'm like, this is awesome. What are they going to do next? What are they going to do next? This is how is this going to play out? And, they might try to do something where they, have a big explosion somewhere, and then they crank up the G.
5G.
Not supposed to say that. Okay.
Oh.
And they crank up the towers, and then people get radiation sickness, I mean, but it's not a nuke. Go ahead, Dustin.
I was gonna share something when you guys are done with this topic before we move on.
That's it. Also, I got the Elon Musk fraud video here. If any of you that are a fan of Elon think that he's doing good, please watch this video. It's 5 minutes by Greg Reese from InfoWars.
I got a lot of that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, by the way,
I want to share something you guys haven't seen yet, I bet.
Go ahead.
okay, I just want to, before we move on with the whole Elon Musk, I noticed that people like Sean from FP and Alex Jones are really promoting Elon Musk, but I don't trust him. And I
Watch that video on my website. Watch that video, flatearthdave.com. Watch the video, and then you'll know. Now, I used to go back and forth. Does Elon Musk MK Ultra mind controlled, or does he know?
He knows.
Now you're making me go back and forth again.
He's a Satanist, man.
Is he 100%?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And so they allow him to do some little things. Oh my God, he opened up Twitter. He put, so-and-so back on Twitter. That's awesome. Right. But meanwhile, you can't post any link from Brighteon, which has no censorship on it, on Twitter. You can't post anything from there. Right. I got a strike for that friggin' stupid meme with the dog. Right. He's allowing.
Yeah.
You're right. 100% he knows.
I call him Elon
and
Musk. He's a
mind-controlled.
Satanist.
I think he's mind controlled also. But he knows.
I want people to understand in the United States that you're not in a prison planet. You create that and you manifest that. Being in right here, I'm not in Russia, but I'm neighboring Russia. They have Yandex, and they created their own internet system, and they created their own SWIFT system. So they don't have to rely on the U.S. internet. If the U.S. internet goes down, I can assure you that Russia and China and all these other places that are not connected to the U.S. internet system are going to be fine. And now with BRICS, they have their own ability to move the money around. So even if the SWIFT system goes down. So what I'm trying to tell people is don't be fooled. Don't feel like you have to be part of this system. Create your own system. Break out of the matrix.
Try to survive.
Yeah. So
you're not going to survive this alone. We need to come together and basically formed walled villages again, communities that protect each other from things like forced conscription and violence and drug gangs and such, because that's what's coming.
If enough people do this, we don't even need to take them down. They just wither away because they have no attention. Our attention to them and our belief in their system gives them the only power that they have, right?
Yeah.
If everyone just said, who's the government? They have zero power. What could they do? They got nothing, right? But people are so afraid, and they're literally have Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah, and that's what I think the three of us are doing, is we're trying to give people enough nuggets of information to give them the strength so that they can empower themselves to release this fear that they're living in. And that's how they control you, is through fear and ignorance.
And I just shared a lot of stuff. I see Flat Earth Dave is sharing some things now on Elon, or I call him Elon Musk. And I just want to do kind of a quick plug on my Biblical Earth documentary, because I go into it from a Christian perspective. And I also cover like young Earth stuff, which a lot of folks, when they're focusing on like the math and the flat stuff, do not cover. I go into it from a genetics aspect as well. So I basically offer a lot of other additional supporting evidences for the flat cosmological worldview, but I also bring it back to the Bible and I prove other aspects. So that's where I get into, like, other people say flat Earth, geocentric stationary. I say flat Earth, geocentric stationary, young, hollow domed, biblical. But basically, we're all on the same page. I just wanted to kind of do a quick self plug on this because I haven't really plugged it much.
Yeah, and Dave, if you've got any images that you want to show too, please feel free, because you always have some cool stuff to show if you want to share the screen.
I do right here. This is just X. That's coincidence, right?
Yeah, right. Look at that.
Pretty weird. I don't know. So,
is there anything that you wanted to touch on today, Dave?
But we went all over the place. I had no idea where we're going, but it's all good. I mean, it's an endless conversation here. I just tell people, go to my website and check out all the stuff there. I got lots of really good stuff. The Elon Musk thing, the no nukes thing, that's real important one to know. And if you're new to Flat Earth, if you go on my website, let me pull it up. If you go to my website, as I go to my web browser, and you scroll down, those are all my socials. All of my socials are right there, so you can subscribe to them. But I have a thing called the Crash Course. Where is my Crash Course? Down. Keep going down. Up. There's my coffee. Flat Earth coffee, right? Fun to put in the break room at work. But when you see a big picture of me right here, click this button. Take the Flat Earth Crash Course. These are videos that YouTube will never feed to you, right? So if you click that button, there's a list of videos. I say just watch the first 3 videos. They're all on YouTube, right? Easy, but you won't find them on your own. Watch those videos, and then you'll know. And the other thing is, that we didn't get into, it's just people say when they're first hearing about this, what difference does it make? What difference does it make? I still have to go to work on Monday, right? I think today's Monday, right?
Yes.
Okay. I don't care what day of the week it is, right? My life has changed, and it brought me to God, right? I did not believe in God. Now I know in God. I know in God. I don't believe. I know. There's zero doubts. And then and everything changes from there. This world is absolutely amazing. It is fascinating. It is interesting. And we have an incredible future ahead of us if people just get their heads out of their asses.
I want to add something to that.
Yeah, I want to get into the spiritual aspect on both of your sides. When you say that Flat Earth brought you to God,
well, yeah,
how is that and why?
So to add to what David was just saying, essentially, like from the Christian perspective, as a former atheist, this is the topic that proved God to me, that brought me to God. But from a Christian perspective, you hear people ask, what does this matter? It's not a salvation issue, etc. Well, I mean, David covered the other half of it, but from the Christian salvation side of things, it matters because for those who don't believe in God, it becomes a major salvation issue because it's proof of God. You bring them to God, therefore they find salvation because they find faith. So to an atheist, this is a salvation issue. Absolutely. It's our most powerful weapon to reach out to atheists out there. So it's absolutely a salvation issue if you don't already believe in God. And I think it's of value for people who want to prove God, like myself. I don't just believe in God. I prove God in debate all the time.
Yeah.
And I trigger the hell out of these atheists because I have answers for their nonsense. I have science that proves God. I have genetic, archaeological, etymological, anthropological, historical, etc. It's all there. It all goes back to God.
People say
hate it.
That this lie is so big that so many people have to be on it. Yeah, there are a lot of people on it, but not nearly as many as you think. You know, if you look at all just the regular normies that fight against flat Earth, they don't even know their own model, let alone have an agenda. You know, they're not there in on it, you know, trying to hide it. So there's a lot of people that, perpetuate the globe model and don't even know why. That's just because they've been programmed to do that. And the reason that the elite do this is because with all the other bullshit going on in the world, everything from all the stuff we're not allowed to say to all this, just everything that's going on, people like, you know, why are you talking about flat Earth? There's starvation, there's child trafficking. Yeah, all of that happens because you're lost in space, spinning out of control, don't know where you are, who you are, what you are, don't know anything, right? So this is the most important deception. The globe is the most important deception because it keeps you away from God. If you, here's the thing, if, you know, you can believe in the Big Bang, made up, happened spontaneously, or God made it. You can believe in that. But in a God Big Bang universe, it's more of a diluted God in an expanding universe that's expanding like 1 billion miles a second in every direction, which is just stupid, right? And so you have both of those, atheist view possible or believe in God, kind of don't understand it, but you can go either way. But if you understand that this world is intelligently designed, that it is a flat world, the shape doesn't matter, that it is intelligently designed, you have no other option than to know God exists. And if that happens, the elite are finished. They're finished.
We absolutely do not need flat Earth to prove the Bible or to prove God. However, they absolutely need globe cosmology to disprove God.
Hide God, right.
They're desperately defending this dying science, and all of these dying sciences, they're shifting from evolution to panspermia.
Dustin, can you believe in God and truly research in God and the Bible and believe in heliocentrism?
You have to start basically accepting Roman mistranslation. Like firmament was clearly a firm physical barrier, but they describe it as an expansive air with basically giving you the modern cosmological vacuumless vacuum nonsense.
So what you're saying is you can believe in a heliocentric model and believe in God. You're just mistaken on some things. So
the Bible is clearly a flat Earth book.
Absolutely, right? And that triggers people too. So a heliocentric Christian God-believing good person versus hey, I've done the research, I've looked into God's word, and it's a flat Earth, and believes in God and is a good person. Which one has a better connection? Which one has a more solid connection to God?
You can find faith without this, but like as a actual human trafficking reporter previously, I mean, I'm still covering those topics, but this is more important than those topics because it actually shows the entire world government working together. It is a world government, has been for some time. It is a massive conspiracy. They are, in fact, at a government level, all in on it, so to speak, because of the Antarctic Treaty.
Wait a minute. You mean the governments are all in together on you can't go to Antarctica and you have to get
the ultimate deprogrammer.
Yeah,
this truth is the ultimate deprogramming tool because if you'll accept the truth, you'll never trust any man-made authority again. Government, science, history, anything.
Yeah.
So, a couple things. You guys are totally the antithesis of what the trolls in the comments section say. That this is actually, both of you are shills for the synagogue of Satan psyop that would have everybody believe that it's a flat Earth. That in reality, everything that you just said is inverted because they don't want people to believe in the heliocentric.
In fact, Victor,
why are these people saying that? Like, why would the synagogue of Satan want people to believe flat Earth and not?
It's the total opposite, Victor. It's
everything's
actually
opposite, right?
The synagogue of Satan, which controls Rome and has for even back as far as Nero and Julius Caesar, even before Catholicism, basically used Catholicism to monopolize Christianity. And in the last 500 years, they used a bunch of Galileo-type psyops and Newton-type occult science to basically push this worldview on us. It was intentional. They made it up to debunk God. It was basically a response to the Reformation. People started reading the Bible without getting killed by Rome. Rome had killed 50 million believers for reading or translating the Bible. They would burn them with their Bible hung around their neck. But when Tyndale came out with the printing press Bible, it was too late. They couldn't stop it. It was like the internet. Copies were going up everywhere. They shifted from kill them to infiltrate and monopolize. They started putting out the Bible. They put out the like official government approved Freemason versions like the KJV and the Latin Vulgate in English. And then they started to with the Douay Rheims, which is like the KJV of Catholicism, etc. They took, in fact, the Douay Rheims go so far as to use globe earth in it. They've been pushing this nonsense since Cardinal Wolsey learning against learning, which was a papal approved strategy to create fake science, fake history, fake news, to debunk the Reformation's massive increase in faith in God. They don't want us to believe in God. And when we started to, they invented globe earth. And in fact, they pulled it out of occult pagan texts from the pre-flood world. Like Newton was stealing the idea of gravity from the emerald tablets of Hermes and Thoth, which he was obsessed with, etc. These guys were as much scientists as they were seancists. You know, they were occult practitioners like, you know, modern Jack Parsons, etc. Didn't know anything about rocket science, but somehow he was the father of rocketry for NASA because of all the sex magic rituals he was doing in the desert, which led to Hillary Clinton being born, etc. So all of this stuff connects. They truly are Satanists, and they want to drag your soul to hell with them.
And Dave brought up the Jesuits with the Big Bang, and a lot of people don't understand that the Jesuits were also created by the Synagogue of Satan.
Yes.
So, I mean, can you go into that, Dave, how the Jesuits are connected to the Synagogue of Satan and why they would be implementing the Big Bang as a psyop?
All I know is a Jesuit priest. Yeah, Justin can, but it basically made up the Big Bang out of nowhere. Not even a scientist. It's a priest made it up. Go ahead, Justin.
Yeah, and then the first Jesuit was Loyolas, a guy named Ignatius Loyolas, who is a saint to the Catholics, or a mass murdering, brutal tyrant, just genocidal maniac, ethnically cleansing whole tribes of Christians for daring to read or translate the Bible. This guy basically monopolized the Bible for Rome by killing all of the competing sects of Christianity. And brutally so. I mean, this is like the Dark Ages. They're inventing ways to torture people to death, etc. And he was the first Jesuit. And by the way, the Jesuit order basically has an oath which promises to smash babies' heads against the wall in front of their own mothers if that's what it takes to do to get the will of the Pope out in the world. They're all about infiltrating governments, etc., which is a Synagogue of Satan proven tactic over and over. And essentially, it is the Roman arm of the Synagogue of Satan, just like the city of London, not London the city, but the city of London with all the dragon statues, a separate city within a city, a separate jurisdiction, a separate nation, essentially. That's where all those dragon statues are, outside of all those giant doors with banks inside, because that's the banking arm of the Synagogue of Satan. And the Pentagon, with its evil pentagram type symbolism, is the military arm of the Synagogue of Satan.
Now, to switch gears, Dave, could you explain what's on the screen here with Terra Infinita and how this fits in to the whole flat Earth?
So this is a suggestion of what might be beyond the ice wall. So again, I always like to preface: we do not need to imagine or speculate what's beyond the shoreline of Antarctica or 60 degrees south, where we're allowed to go, to prove the Earth is flat. You know, but this would be I can't point at your screen. But we live in the center of one of those ponds, and then those other ponds are pieces of the plane, like a planet, if you will, and those are other worlds. So that would be how we would have a universe here on a flat Earth plane. Now, do I think this is real? I don't know. That's my official answer, right? But there's lots of evidence of more land beyond Antarctica. Books like let me show my screen. So if we go,
I want to understand it. If that's the case, like you said previously, people who live in those areas could fly to the Earth that we live on, do anal probes, and be back home in time for dinner.
Killing my life. Yeah, people coming from the outer lands could, it's a day trip. It's not 28,000 years if you can go 100,000 miles an hour. These books in the More Land section on the app are fantastic. Read the book, listen, take out what you like, right? You want to say something, Dustin?
Yeah, I was just going to say, John Kerry and all those other VIPs were not flying to Antarctica on special trips to have like a booty call. There was something they were going to like pay homage to or get orders from or like check out. We know there's some secret weapons down there. I personally, I don't subscribe to land beyond the firmament. So I think Antarctica is truly a rim, but I hear you out on this.
But no, let me ask you a question. No, God said the firmament is we live in a dome or whatever the exact words are. How do you know how big it is?
So it's really, I've kind of estimated about 800 miles deep because of some of the older maps and such that basically still treat it as a rim.
What if it's just like this? What if it goes out to here and they've literally hidden us right here? We're trapped here, right?
It's possible.
That's all I want, right? And then people are like, well, the sun is in the firmament. The God put the sun in the firmament, right?
Yeah.
So does
Yeah,
that
and I would add that we're the center as well.
Yeah, we are the center, right? We are the center. So
because God sits above the North Pole according to Scripture.
So let me ask you a question. A lot of people say that the sun is under the firmament. Doesn't it say in the firmament?
It says set within the firmament. Yeah.
Set within the firmament. So when you put your milk in the refrigerator, do you put it in the refrigerator or do you put it under the refrigerator?
You put it in.
You put it in the refrigerator. So the firmament is the barrier, the hard, fast barrier that we are under. And the sun, to me, is within it, which means above that layer. Because the firmament could be a million miles thick or whatever.
At some point, I believe that unlike the flat Earth, there is a curve, and that this bubble hits the Earth, and we cannot go beyond that.
I think that you might be right, but again, I don't know.
Well, also Scripture says it holds back the waters above, which part of the flood story was the rains, massive rains, as well as a burst from the undersea hydroplate theory. Yeah. So the reason that the sky is blue is because there's water up there.
Well, how
does what you just said fit in with the so-called solar eclipse psyop? I don't know if you guys are aware of that, because people were filming the solar eclipse, and yet when they moved the camera over, the moon was on the other side.
Yeah, you can find them both sometimes.
Yeah, you can. That one video that's going viral, though, that looks deceptive to me. Because it's showing the moon way off to the side, and it was only a half moon. Wait a minute, why? How can there be a half moon during a solar eclipse? So that to me was somebody made an edited video, but the moon has been seen off to the side, and I don't think that here's the thing. Falsification is independent of replacement. We can prove it's not the moon going in front of the sun. On my app, if you go to the question mark, which is the frequently asked questions page, then you go to the eclipses button right there. There's some great videos disproving the heliocentric model and showing you very possible ways that it works. The top video in that section is fantastic. Go ahead.
I have a question, David, actually, because this just occurred to me, and this is based on the difference of our worldview here, because you think puddles outside of ours.
Maybe.
Now, if that were the case, and I'm not saying it's not, because I'm open to being convinced about this, but if that were the case, would they not need their own suns locally? So would our sun not have time to get back?
I know exactly what you're saying there. So if our sun is within the firmament, like the Bible says, that means, figure we have our bubble, we're inside our bubble, and then the firmament is another layer of heaven, and the sun is within that firmament, okay? So it's kind of like it's above the glass dome in the firmament.
I think we can make a good case that it's within the glass dome, because like if you line up the jet streams and you actually correct for flat Earth, like it's just basically following
let me
the
answer
sun.
the question. Let me answer the question though.
Yeah.
So let me see if I can pull up what I want to show you here. So
and how does the black hole sun fit into all this? Because I'm hearing that there's more than one sun.
There's a third black sun body, which represents Satan, according to most myths and ancient beliefs.
Really?
And that's where you get these sort of eclipses from.
How does Satan fit into all that?
Because the moon is not doing this. The sun and the earth and the moon are not doing this alone. We can, as you said, that lunar eclipses disprove that easily.
All right.
Satan is like a sun?
There's a black sun, a black rock.
All right. Let me show you what I'm showing you right here. So this is a glass dome here. You really can't see it yet. It's sitting on a white rug, and I have a light above it, and I'm moving the light above it. So I'll hit play. And the sun, it appeared here on the horizon. And if you look, there's a sun inside here. Okay. And so when in person, it literally looks like a round ball sun in there. It comes down to the horizon and it fades out and disappears. Now, when it come back, it'll reappear. It never goes below. It just shows up right there and it goes across. Now, if I put multiple domes around, they'd all have a sun in them from the same source.
Yeah, I figured it like if you have a sun and moon covering so much land, it runs out of time to cover that many more ponds.
Well, it doesn't matter. If it's up high, I can hold it up high. I can have 50 of those domes on the floor, and I can go like this, and it'll circle all of them independently.
That gets back to like localized lighting, though, right? Because then it only covers the local. Like even the clouds there are brighter, closer toward the body.
Of course.
So it's got to be somewhat close.
Well, no, because whether it's up high, inside the dome, you'll have your apparent sun. I don't believe the sun that we see is the physical sun. Watch my eclipse video, the first video on the eclipses section on the app. It's a short video. Just watch it and you'll be like, I think it's biblically accurate and it resembles reality, what we see. I don't know if it's the truth, but it doesn't break any rules of reality, and I don't think it goes against what the Bible's saying. I don't know. And then if you look at the image I had that showed let me show it again.
Dave, you filmed that video? You filmed
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
So holy cow, man! Like you're sitting at home, you're I don't know having a coffee, and then you're thinking, let me it's like what goes through your mind to make?
No, I mean it's 2:00 in the morning. I'm trying to sleep. It hits my head. I have to go upstairs and film it because that's what I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
Holy cow! I want you to share whatever you're smoking, brother.
Yeah.
I do think it's funny that like basically the Mayans were able to accurately predict these eclipses, and like NASA's having trouble still.
So
Because they had to change last minute updates.
Imagine
What's up with that?
a glass dome here that comes up and then terminates outside here, and then another one that's kind of like the top half of a donut, another dome out here. And if I took a light and I brought it around, you'd have one light out here, you'd have one light in here, and they would both circle their land in the same amount of time. Now, if that light is the light of God, the sun that God created, we would all see our own personal atmospheric sun.
No.
These are just possibilities.
What about equatorial heat? We know that the center of our plate has the heat circle.
Yeah. So wherever the sun is, so you know that
it doesn't cross though. Like it never parallaxes or whatever you'd call this. It never crosses that Antarctica.
No, it doesn't, because here, so our sun just goes around, right, and it stays in between the tropics. So whatever it's closer here, we're having our summer. You can see that it's already on the inner track or right on the coming up to the solstice. Then when it goes out here, we're cold in the north because the sun's farther away. It's lower in the sky, and the outer part's having its summer. But then if there was another, the donut dome out here, you would have the same thing. The sun would be migrating in and out, and it would be going around. It would go around in the same amount of time. Go out when you're on the highway or driving and there's cars all over the place. And it's high, 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and the sun's shining. Look at all of the car windshields. They all have their own little sun in their own. It's like they're like little domes, and you see the sun in every car independently. So imagine yourself inside that car. That car is the glass is the dome. You actually have that sun, and it's hot. Like if the sun's right up here and I had 2 magnifying glasses and I'm holding them and I'm aiming them in 2 different places on the ground, I'm going to burn 2 different spots on the ground, and it's going to be colder in between them. That's because that energy is being aimed there.
Are you familiar with something called hydroplate theory? Which is the waters below erupted with the flood, just like the waters above, and then they erupted, hit the upper atmosphere, hit the bubble, came down and froze Antarctica. We used to have tropical bones.
I like
there
it. I'm in 100%.
It seems to make sense the most. Yeah,
it makes a lot of sense. It's very interesting. But I think that when do people talk about they fight us about gravity? I'm like, how does your 100 trillion ton cloud float in the sky? Where does all that water come from? Right? But we can fly an airplane through a cloud and the windows barely get wet. I mean, yes, there's water in the clouds. That's one thing. But during like a hurricane, you ever see how hard? Have you been in a hurricane? You're in Florida, right?
Twice.
So the water, literally rivers of water are coming out of the sky. It's insane. Right? Where is that water coming from? Well, what happens during a hurricane? Super low pressure, right? It's letting the waters in from above. That's what I think. It's low pressure lets the waters in. High pressure holds the waters up.
The Book of Enoch, I don't know if you've heard about that. It talks about the way these things work specifically, like the winds, how there's different portals, the sun, the moon, how there's different portals they use. I would love to see someone who has your knowledge of this kind of look at that and just see if there's connections.
I think Santos Bonacci talks about it. I think that the sun works its way out 6 months out, 6 months back in, but it could jump through each portal at one point. Because I've noticed, I've been watching the sun march across the land, getting farther and farther north. And one day, it's like, whoa, how did it get that far in one day? How did it make that jump from yesterday to today? Maybe that's a portal. I don't know.
Yeah.
And guys, taking into consideration the knowledge that you have, put yourself in the brain of people like Bill Gates. Why would he be trying to block out the sun with this project that he has, which has already been approved?
We're already in the brain of Bill Gates. He's trying to stop us from getting through to the people with these things. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he would break down in tears if I were in his brain.
What's the purpose of that project to block out the sun?
Well, they want to starve us for
population. It's about the population.
Yeah. And also, it's Baal. That's what they're spraying on us. Barium and aluminum.
Yeah.
Periodic table, Baal.
So, I mean, wouldn't that affect them though? If, like you're saying, we're on the inside of an area on the outside that feeds on us, because apparently we're cattle and they feed off of our loosh, our fear, our energy, our children, the blood, and our
Our deep
body.
state eat blood. Look, I can show you videos.
So why would they want to depopulate us? Aren't they getting rid of their own food source?
I think that they need to get our population down, because as mass consciousness grows, as there's more people, there's not 8 billion people. That's another lie. But as we come up and more people are awake, they can't control us. You know, it's the Maharaji effect or whatever. When enough people are awake thinking positive things, they're going to have problems. So they need to keep us in fear. They need to lower the population, and then we're all separated again.
And this is not the first time this has happened. It has happened again and again and again throughout history, where they will basically kill the smart people who know too much. The Holodomor is a good example. It happened right after all the child sacrifice stuff started to hit the courts and the books. And the first people that were basically put on trial and whose books were banned were the lead investigator and the priest who wrote books about the child sacrifice that was happening there. So when these things get out, they got to shut it down. They got to kill everybody who's ever heard about it, or else it's over for them. And they know that. Therefore, they reset, they restock with starter cattle, the dumb sheep that don't pay attention, and they kill all of us off every single time.
They did the same thing during the Mao Revolution. Anybody who wore glasses, they were first to be killed, because they knew that the people that wore glasses were the ones that were well-read.
They ate people.
Yeah.
They had flesh banquets. They actually literally ate people during the Maoist revolution.
I heard about that. And when I was in China, they still eat people. They have baby soup. And baby soup cost less than a Big Mac, which was amazing. Up the street from, literally half a block from where I live, they serve dog on the menu.
You had to eat either baby soup or a Big Mac. Which one would you pick? Not sure.
Oh my God,
it's the same ingredients.
Yeah.
Where do you think all the child trafficking victims go?
I know. Listen, we're going down a path that I don't even want to go down. But yes, you're right.
I've got an article on this, but yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, a lot of people don't have that critical thinking. So many children disappear every year. Where do they think? There's no mass graves.
Maybe this is just the Western versus Eastern fast food franchise for babies. I mean, soup there, sandwich here, same thing. MSG and meat.
Where are we going now that people like ourselves are out there getting this information out? We're going to reach a critical
conflict.
So I think here's what I think. I think that they can't break natural law. They can't break God's will. They know the karmic punishment that they get if they break our free will, but they can trick us. They can trick us into giving our money away. They can trick us into fighting wars and killing other order followers. They can trick us into, all sorts of things. I think that if enough people wake up, and I think a lot of people are, and are aware of natural law, that they can't touch us.
I'm of a different opinion. I think that they invert God's law and hate God's law, and then the Talmud actually teach to undo everything in God's law. They would love. In fact, they break God's law for fun, essentially. But there's only 2% or less of them that rule over all of us, and they need to trick us to enforce on each other and kill each other, or we'll unite against them. What they're afraid of most right now is the Arabic and the Christian world coming together over what's happening in Gaza.
Now, do you guys think that Trump is part of this psyop? And
yes.
The reason why I bring Trump up is because, yes, this may be politics. Politics fits into everything, into religion, into everyday life, and even into NASA, because we all know that NASA is a black budget. So when Trump gets in, I see him, people are seeing him as a new messiah almost.
I want to share this. You guys just talk over if you want, but there's a lot. I can go into Trump a lot if you want.
What do you think, Dave, before Dustin goes into it?
I think it's all a big show. And I think that Trump is possibly, he has some desire to try to help, but he's in the club and, he's controlled.
He's always been controlled. Every single aspect about him is synagogue of Satan. He is essentially fulfilling already about 90% of the check boxes of the book of Revelation and the rest of scripture about the Antichrist, son of perdition. It's him. No one else is even close. Williams, Charles, Obama, etc. They don't even come close to qualifying. It was him that gave us Operation Warp the Seed. It was him that put Fauci, the mass murderer, on the stand and started to support everything he said. It was him that gave us the radiation weapon that you can see listed right here. It's him giving us things like pro-abortion statements. It's him saying things like giving us bump stock bans, Second Amendment violations, First Amendment violations, etc. I could just basically keep going, and so shut me up if you're tired of it. His symbolism is evil, Space Force, serpent's tongue speaking through a forked disc, just like NASA. His symbolism of the hat that he sold on his campaign website officially was basically the Baphomet upside down. I think Space Force is essentially Nimrod 2.0, Tower of Babel army to fight Jesus when he returns. I think it's trying to fight Jesus. That's what Space Force is about. All of his associations are basically Synagogue of Satan. He got his 33rd degree Freemason status in 2010, apparently. Here's this little robe. His childhood supposed Christian example was Vincent Norman Peale, also a 33rd degree Freemason who was pretty famous. I mean, I like some of his quotes, but famous for injecting false doctrine, etc. Yes, Q and Trump are legitimately connected, which I proved, but also both have betrayed us and led to many, many dead. As you said, many supporters believe that God has literally chosen him. I ask which verse, but they never want to tell me that one. His backing is entirely deep state, the Adelson family, etc. He has had nothing but good things to say about the vaccine and bad things to say about anyone who criticized it. He has led to many dead. Here he is performing some Freemason symbolism happily. Look at that face. He's proud of it. All of his symbolism, by the way, is black cube 666 satanic stuff all over his buildings. Let me show you. 666. Here's some of his towers, the inverted pyramid. We also have the 666 at the spire. If you add the spire, it's extra 2 feet, so that's a 666. The official Abraham Accords signature type coin was commemorated with this symbolism, which is, it's a little fuzzy here. I've got better copies, but that symbolism basically talks about mark of the beast, genetic corruption, transhumanism, and then going to the stars after they hook you up to the Starlink satellites. It gets crazier from there. I think that's John G. Trump right there next to George Bush and Skull and Bones. I mean, it looks identical to him. Apparently he went to a different school, but like, you can't, why is he there then? Because that's him. Even though people say that Epstein and Trump had their falling out, I mean, he was there with Robert Maxwell, so even back before Epstein, he already had these very questionable connections. He read us that snake poem, which I think was the one time he told the truth, because he certainly didn't tell us the truth about lock her up. He locked us down. And it just keeps going from there. He said that his blood is the vaccine. Yep, that's not a joke. Maybe he was joking, but he really did say it. He told people he got the booster. I don't think he got the booster. He'd be dead at his age by now. He gave us the tracking system through executive order, tracking every man, woman, and child, etc. That was all him too. He thinks that Israel should be immune from international court and should own our Congress. He's basically an Israel firster running for king of Israel, not an American firster running for president of the U.S. He's just pretending to be. Here he is having sex with that wall called the Wailing Wall, which is really part of the remaining temple of Jupiter. If you watch the video, he humps it just like the rabbis do, because the whole point is to impregnate the spirit to bring about the Antichrist. So they go there and they basically hump the wall with their hips over and over and over. And he was not even trying to hide it. I mean, he was getting into it. Here he is launching World War Gay, basically where the U.S. began to punish other countries if they did not adopt enough gay policies, legalize gay marriage, etc. I'm not even probably about halfway done, I guess. With
World
this.
War Gay, holy
World
cow.
War Gay. Yeah, and here's some of the examples. Yeah, he did, and here's some of the examples of why he is the only one who could be the son of perdition. King Charles, all these other guys, not even close. Not only are they not charismatic, they don't meet the criteria such as being stout or reconfirming a already confirmed peace agreement, which we already have with Trump, the Abraham Accords. He's the only man who could reconfirm it at this point. Here's the Operation Warp Speed, or War on the Seed, Mark of the Beast, 666, hand raised in praise, lost tribes of Israel in lawlessness, the Antakarana, meaning mind control of your soul, all in there. If you drop the P's, it's not Warp Speed, it's War on the Seed. From Backsteady. How much more do you want? It's him. He's
all right, I'm out. All right, you got me. I'm good.
Hey, so
I'm removing my 1%.
We talked about the Antarctica and the sky, but what people don't talk about, and I don't know if you guys know about this, the ocean. There are apparently beings that live in the ocean. I've spoken to people who have, and these are reputable people. They've told me that they've seen objects come out of the water and that they were being held for questioning by U.S. military, and they stood by their stories. They were like, listen, we weren't drunk. We saw what we saw, and the government told us that we shouldn't tell anybody about what we saw. So not only are there unidentified flying objects coming out of the ocean, but also nobody talks about the inner earth, the hollow earth, how deep down we go. And apparently there are deep underground military bases that go down 8 miles, but what's further down than 8 miles?
So I talk about hollow earth as part of my biblical earth cosmology, but I also want to mention that the deep state already have underwater colonies. Like Ghislaine Maxwell was famously a citizen of, I forget the name of the citizenship that she got, but they have these breakaway civilization colonies of advanced technology already on Earth, underwater, and other places, underground, etc. They've been preparing this for a long time in order to survive what they're about to bring on the rest of us. It's not going to be a good place to be unless you're living in a bunker very soon throughout most of the world. But yeah, they have these things already. So if they start popping up in space taxis, which space is fake, then I would not be surprised. It's probably Ghislaine Maxwell in there with a bunch of her pedo friends.
Dave?
That's a lot to take in, man. It's all I've known all of that, not all the details, but yeah, I totally agree. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff going underground. What better place? I mean, you've got on an island, underground, underwater. You know, how are you going to get caught? I mean, the island is the most dangerous place.
Yeah, just like Epstein Island. You can't; those kids cannot escape. They will get eaten by sharks if they swim.
You ever look at the similarity between Epstein Island and the Nickelodeon logo?
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Yeah, it's
There's
crazy.
no coincidence. So they keep us distracted, and that's why, again, people think that both of you are shills because you guys are keeping everybody distracted with this flat Earth when you're not talking about.
I used to think the same thing. I used to think the same thing, that flat Earth was a distraction from the truth. But flat Earth is the one that keeps you distracted. Globe Earth is the one that keeps you distracted from seeing the truth because you're on a spinning ball, a satanic spinning ball. How can you even think straight with it spinning in all those directions?
I went to debunk it, and after I publicly thought it was, I kept saying this is a distraction, this is some sort of psyop, etc. I went to debunk it. 6 hours later, I was convinced.
Wow. Okay. Hey, listen, that was a heavy conversation. I really want to thank both of you for.
I want to throw in one more thing. Today we're recording this on Monday. On Tuesday, tomorrow, which is the 18th. For those, I'm going to speak in code a little bit here. For those of you in the USA that are tired of funding wars with your hard-earned money, we're having a Zoom call on Tuesday night to teach you lawful ways, very easy, very simple, not sovereign citizen thing, to not have to do that anymore. So if you want to email me, info@theflatearthpodcast.com, and we do them every Tuesday nights, not every week, but often, and it's quite fascinating information, and then you can do with it as you wish.
Yeah, I really thank both of you for sharing your knowledge. It takes a lot of time to not only grasp this thing, but also to understand it to the level where you can share it with people whose minds would normally blow up hearing what you're having to say. And for those who are listening, I really appreciate your taking the time to doubt us and learn for yourself, because that's the best way. Don't just take what we're saying as truth. Go down that rabbit hole yourself. You'll feel so much more satisfied when you learn, because I see Dustin and I see Dave, and the passion that you guys have with this only comes from the amount of time and effort that you put into learning about this. And that's really inspirational. So you should really take this podcast. Listen, if you're going to leave comments about what jerks we are, go ahead. But really, you're missing the point here. We're trying to get you to open your minds.
I also want to mention something, and I'm a polite and compassionate person, but this truth, its time has come. Nothing's going to stop it. And the gatekeepers out there who won't name the truth will be destroyed by it. And we're coming for you either way. If you want to debate us, that's fine. If you want to ridicule us, that's fine. But we will win. Change is coming.
And your website is theserapeum.com?
Yeah, theserapeum.com/his story revealed will change your life. There's no going back.
And then you've got flatearthdave.com. And if you are watching for the first time and are interested in my work, you can go to victorhugocollection.com. You can scroll to the bottom of the page and you can find my channels on Rumble, BitChute, and Brighteon at Victor Hugo Art. If you want to email me with any questions, you can contact me at vhviipress@msn.com or message me on Gab at Victor Hugo Art. And people can contact you through those websites. Is that correct?
Yep.
All right. Is there anything in closing you'd like to say, Flat Earth Dave?
I say believe nothing, verify everything, and open your eyes, because as Dustin just said, the truth is here. You can't hide from it. And those of you that do are going to just get buried.
Yeah.
Dustin, is there anything you'd like to say in closing?
Yeah, they're about to bring down the hammer. They have dropped the carrot. It doesn't work anymore. People are waking up to who runs everything and what they're doing to us. And all of the weapons are basically about to hit at once. Famine, draft, war, all of it's going to hit. So don't comply. Don't send your sons and daughters to die like Zelensky wants. And be ready to resist. We'll win.
And in closing, I would like to remind everybody that united we stand, divided we fall. Never give up. Never surrender. Keep shining. Live, love, flow.